This episode is brought to you by Honda. When you test drive the new Prologue EV, there's a lot that could impress you about it. There's the class-leading passenger space, the clean, thoughtful design, and the intuitive technology. But out of everything, what you'll really love most is that it's a Honda. Visit honda.com/EV to see offers.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
And now, live from the TCL broadcast studios, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
Pat is at his winter estate. Tom Chorske is joining us, and I'm supposed to ask you, Mr. Chorske, about your daughter's hockey playing at Edina High School.
She's a hack,
right?
She's a complete hack.
Oh, those St. Paulites were the tough
pretty
ones.
bad.
No, she's very talented. Don't be humble now.
What year is she?
She's a freshman, and yeah, she was able to make varsity, and I ran into the Rook over at Tiffany's before the game.
That was a safety parent meeting, by the way.
Yeah, well, we should have combined them. We would have really solved a lot of safety problems, probably.
Yes.
But we were foes that night, so we were on the opposite sides of the restaurant. But it was fun. I like that rink.
Where'd you play?
We were at Drake, the Drake Arena. SPA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a nice high school
Still the same
rink.
as it was, in 1975, but it has that charm. It's got that charm about it.
Well, who won the game?
The Edina Hornets went out to I think a 4-0 lead, and then St. Paul 3 unanswered to make it interesting going into the third.
Yeah,
they've got a really good player in Samantha Burke.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's good. She's big and strong, and she's
out to Cornell, I believe.
She wired one right off the crossbar, bar down, and then a slap shot from about the blue line that blew our goalie's glove off and went in the net. The glove didn't come off, but it bent. Have you ever seen when the glove's a little too soft and it bent, and then the puck flipped out and went in? But then we were able to bounce back. Edina is considered, I think, 1 and 2.
Are they the power of the state?
They're the power of the state. They won it last year, and have a handful of girls that are returners that have committed to Division I schools.
Where's your club, Rook?
We had a couple of tough first 2 games. We got beat by Edina, then got beat by Red Wing, and then we bounced back against Benilde St. Margaret, and they're 2-2 right now. And you know what? We lost a couple of good players. We have some really solid players, and I think we'll do fine. The fact that Blake has gone up to AA and is going to have to deal with you guys.
Well, we have to deal with them maybe too.
They're a very good club, but that'll benefit us hopefully if we get to the playoffs and keep moving. And
how good has girls hockey become?
Really good, really good.
It wasn't that long ago. It was called ringette.
That's true.
That was the biggest slap on the face.
Anything with an "at" is something smaller than.
Yes,
like a dinette or a kitchenette. That means small. Ringette. Did they play with a stick that didn't even have a blade?
Correct. And it was just
what the hell is that's not even hockey?
No, it was insulting pretty much.
I agree.
Now they use it you can use it as a training tool for beginners.
Yeah,
but to keep their stick on the ice.
But girls hockey these days, it's too bad that Edina and Blake have a game on the same day as Hockey Day Minnesota, January 20th. That will be a regular season game. That will be, probably the top 2 teams, and you won't be able to see those 2 in the state tournament because one of them is going to emerge from that section. So that happens sometimes. But back to your question, you can almost look at a high school or a senior in college playing Division I, and maybe just the average college player, and players coming in as freshmen are considerably better just because of the progression and the skill development of girls hockey in the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Well, I wonder if it's at this point that how far back would you have to go in years before you could say a guy playing for a high school team in Minnesota would not make a current girls team. Is that a fair question?
No, well,
It's probably not a fair question.
it's not a fair question. It'd be too hard to.
Doesn't compare.
No, because I think.
Yeah, but you take my day because I'm ancient now.
Oh, you played. Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Hill played. Yeah.
Okay, but
he
you
played left out is what he played.
You take my day. I'm wondering if the typical kid on the team I was on could even make a top-notch girls team today.
That
might be a fair question.
Okay, they would be
because they have better
borderline.
training, better nutrition, better everything compared to 50 years ago.
Yeah, and they do skating drills that have them. I mean, our daughter's summer team, they'll start standing still on the goal line on one leg and skate all the way down the ice. They have to work their angles and their ankles and their body control.
Don't be
and all
giving
that,
tools of the trade here. Don't be giving out secrets.
Well, that's fine.
Edina is unique, though, the girls' team, because they have so many D1 recruits, and they're very deep. But the average high school team may have 2 or maybe even 3 really good players, and then there is.
Yeah.
It's not that they're bad; they're just not at that level. So that's usually the case. Edina is unique because they have more, but that's usually what happens. Is those girls either have played in their association. There's 2 or 3 that are exceptional, and you can see right away. And then there's a little bit of a drop down where the girls are solid, but they're not.
What's it like way up north? Is it strong? Girls hockey up north? Rosso, Hibbing, Safe River, International Falls?
I think it goes in cycles.
Yeah.
But Warroad has perennially been strong. And St. Paul United is a good team. You've played Edina and you've played Red Wing. Those are 2 of the top 3, 4
and
teams.
Red Wing's got that. I forget her name, but she's number 9.
Taylor Heisey.
She's phenomenal. She's really good.
Really?
She'll be going to the Gophers next year.
Tom, I have a broader hockey question for you because I had this discussion with a friend of mine who also has young boys. I have a 6-year-old son and a son that's going to turn 3 next week. And his kids started playing hockey when they were younger than my oldest son is now. And they love it. They're 10, 11, 12 years old now. And he said, you got to get him in early. And I thought, well, I'm going to wait because I don't want to force something on him. If he wants to play, I'll gladly put on the skates and go out on the ice with him. And I just think too much of that gets lost now because so many parents think that they have to get them into that sport so early or they're going to be left behind.
Absolutely. And or getting them in early and then taking it so seriously early. I mean, I think
it's got to be fun.
It's got to be fun, really, for them to take to it. And you also want them, and this has been talked about a lot, you want them to play other sports, not just be committed to one sport. But you do see people, once they're into it, and they start looking around, and I felt it. I don't think I got too hung up on it, but you start looking around, and kids are doing more and more around your kid, and they're getting better faster, and it gets you a little uneasy. And
your formative years were down on Lake of the Isles.
That's correct. That's correct.
And then what? The mom rang a bell or something? You could hear the bell?
That's true. Yeah, we must have talked about it. And now I have the bell in my garage. I was going to put it up on outside my house and try to bring my kids home once in a while, but now they're older and driving, and I can't.
So you send them a text message,
right? Yeah.
Do you have male children?
I have an older son who's 16. He's a junior.
Does he play hockey?
He does.
Yeah.
He does. He's fighting through the things at Edina High School. They also have a very good team this year.
Kurt's still a coach
starting,
there?
Yeah, Kurt Giles and a guy who played for the Gophers named Dave Twilliger. He's another longtime assistant, and so they're going to be good too. And he's kind of in the mix, so we're looking forward to both of them seasons.
Kurt was he inducted in the Hall of what was the recent news with him?
His jersey was retired, so his jersey number was brought to the rafters up in Duluth.
That's right,
And yeah, I happened to stumble on that too, and it wasn't very well publicized, but I did see it and saw him give a little speech, and he was really grateful, and it's a nice honor.
Growing up with your daughter through the Edina Association, I would assume, played Edina hockey. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that she might pay a little more attention? She obviously liked hockey, and when those girls who separate themselves a little more. It's not you telling them what to do. It's not the loudmouth dad saying, you got to do this. That child either has the fire or does not have the fire to shoot the pucks in the garage or whatever. At what age did you realize that she might be one that has the fire?
Well, I want to answer that question. And before back to what Rover said is she doesn't have any sisters. So her teammates were her sisters, so that's what initially kept her coming back.
Okay.
And I was going to keep her out of hockey until she was, 8 years old or whatever. And we had another friend, a parent, who came by and said, nope, I'm putting my daughters in, and Hannah should go with us.
Okay.
And so we got her going. And then she loved it so much socially that kind of drove her to keep playing and get better. And in Edina, when you get to the kind of making the U12 team is a big deal.
Yeah, sure.
And so it's just kind of instilled in the hockey community in Edina that you're striving, if you can get onto that U12A team,
big step.
and that's the first year you can go and win a state championship.
Right.
And that drives them, and then they're in the 15s. And
What's you mean?
You're leaving
under
12 and under.
12
That's
and
what they
under,
call the girls. The girls aren't mites.
Mites, they use different terminology, so you know if you're talking about a boys team or a girls team.
I see.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, hold that thought,
right.
gentlemen. We're going to be back in just a moment.
You need me?
No, I think I can do it. Well, I don't want to put an NHLer on the spot, but you like the Wild?
Well, sort of.
What are they lacking, if anything?
Well, they seem to be lacking being ready to play right away or consistently over the course of a game. They're known right now to be flat in the second period and sometimes not come out really ready to play. Although last night they came out and they were really out shooting the Devils heavily. And then two of the Devils' goals went in off Olofsson, our defenseman. So that was a little frustrating. And that was happening a couple weeks ago as well. Pucks were going off our guys and off sticks and bouncing off the end boards and then hitting the goalie and going in. And thought those bounces were maybe behind us. But last night it happened again. And I felt like they needed a little more push instead of hanging their heads with bad luck bounces.
Does that have to come from the coach or the players?
That's got to come from the players for the most part. So I think that's, and I'm not in the locker room, so I'm speculating, and I'm not around the rink that much where you can really hear things or figure things out. But they have a good group of, they have a good group and guys that were former captains like Eric Stahl and a leader like Matt Cullen, and in addition to the core guys that have been there like Mikko Koivu and Zach Parisi, who's out. So I guess he's not super involved right now in their leadership in the locker room during games, but Ryan Suter and whatnot. So they should have enough guys, but there seems to be something missing from that in that standpoint.
What I've always thought is missing is a superstar sniper.
Yeah, that's true too.
They don't have an Ovechkin or a Connor McDavid or
right.
I'd love to see him land a superstar.
Yep, it's hard when they've performed moderately well. They don't get that high draft pick, right? The teams that get Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews in Toronto, and at one point Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in Pittsburgh, they were terrible teams, right? You have to be bad for a few years and get those high draft picks, and then go out and spend some money on free agents, and then maybe you can build a pretty solid team after 3 or 4 years. Yeah,
and they'll probably end up in the playoffs again this year. They're not that far out of it. It's too early to panic. They got bad bounces, but you know what? They're 6-7 points out of second place. I mean, anything could happen. They could have a roll like none other. Yeah, they could, but they also could continue to kind of fumble around. They're going into Buffalo this week or next game, and they should come back with 2 points there, and then they've got a home game after Thanksgiving on Friday, and hopefully they can bounce back. So 2 wins the rest of the week, all of a sudden, things change and it feels a lot better. And if it looks like they're not giving up stupid soft goals and looks like they're ready to play, yeah, they might be on their way. They just got Charlie Coyle back, which should help them a lot. Yeah, he played last night.
Yep, he played last night, and so that's a big boost to them. And they went through that early stretch where Granlund was out and Nina Ryder was out, Zach Parisi's out, and so let's cut them a little bit of a break that those guys are now back, and they're going to start finding their touch or their timing, and scoring will go up a little bit more consistently, or they can rely more on 3 lines of scoring, hopefully, instead of 1.
Okay, they're at Buffalo tomorrow night, so that's the first time they'll see Housley as coach.
Right. Right, and Buffalo is struggling. They are not doing well, and I feel bad for Phil because that's a terrible place to be in the standings in pro sports. But when the Wild play him, I hope the Wild win. Sorry,
but
Phil.
He's a god in that town. I mean, it's going to take quite a bit for the fans to turn on him, won't it?
Oh yeah, they won't turn on him right now. I mean, I think they'll cut him some slack, and I think. The team, their team is trying to rebuild, and they're rebuilding around a superstar in Eichel, but they've got a little ways to go. But they've got good ownership. Their owner is deep pockets. He also owns the Bills, I think.
Yes, he does.
And he basically is responsible for Big Ten hockey. Because by funding the Penn State program, all of a sudden it looked like, we can geographically create a Big Ten hockey league, and so they have plenty of resources, and hopefully Phil gets through this phase of a bad start and has
Rook,
some success.
look up who owns the Buffalo.
It's Terry Pagula.
It's Terry Pagula.
What did he do for his fortune?
Real estate.
I thought it was gas and oil.
And oil, amongst other things. It's a lot of stuff, but I think you're right. That's where he got his start, but it's also a lot of real estate as well.
Are they playing in the building you would have played in, or is it a new building since then?
There's a new building. The building I played in was really old and bad when I was playing. So they've got a much nicer new building. In fact, they're one of the ones that are ahead of the Wild that have done one of these downtown training facilities that it's pitched as a community project, and it does start bringing in nicer facility, and they can do more events there, and hockey teams start coming for tournaments, and there's training, off-ice training, and all kinds of things you can do there. He built one of those there.
I think most of us were rooting like crazy for them to knock off the Stars in '99 too. I know I was. I couldn't watch the Stars win the Cup once they left.
Yeah, it was really hard. People still come up to me and you do stuff for the Wild. I don't like the Wild anymore ever since the Stars left, and I'm like, it's a different deal. But people were attached to the North Star organization and that brand and that teams, and it really soured them on pro hockey when the team left.
Didn't they also have the very first Winter Classic? Didn't they play Pittsburgh at Ralph Wilson where the Bills play?
I don't know if that was the first, but yeah, it was one of the first.
Yeah.
Was 99 Buffalo and Dallas in the Stanley Cup? Was that when they had a game that was fogged out or almost fogged out? What am I thinking of? Terrible humidity resulted in steam rising off the ice. I think it was in Buffalo.
I don't remember what year it was. I'm looking them up right now to find out.
That was when the Stars did win. Brett Hull was controversial because he was in the crease, and at that time,
that's right.
The league didn't want you to even have your toenail in the crease, and if you did, they blew the whistle.
The Wild's downtown facility in the old Dayton's building is almost ready to open.
Yes.
Time out here before we move on. I'm sorry. Ralph Wilson Stadium, 2008, Pittsburgh and Buffalo. 2-1. It was a shootout. 71,000 in attendance.
Wow.
2009, Wrigley, Fenway, Heinz Field, 2012 Citizens Bank.
So
Michigan
08
Stadium.
was the first one.
08 was the first one.
Okay.
I thought there was one in Edmonton or Calgary that preceded all of that. But I don't want to have you rack your brain.
71,000 people. That's incredible.
Sports Talk will return in just a moment.
Last night, a lady knocked on my door dressed as Gloria Gaynor. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified.
Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many
I thought it was pretty close,
thinking how you did me wrong. And I grew
You're welcome.
and I learned how to get along.
Did you verify this, Sonny?
2003 Heritage Classic, Montreal, les habitants. 4, les Oilers, l'équipe de Edmonton.
I was right.
3.
What a memory.
That was pretty good.
What a
50,000 people in attendance. Edmonton, Alberta. It was
That
Montreal
happened
and the Oilers.
a long time ago in the 80s for a North Stars game, too. I remember because I was running the board and Albie Shaver was
Not outside.
quite upset. No, and I think it was with the Flyers, or it was somewhere on the East Coast, and it was so warm in there that the ice was melting and they canceled the game.
Might have been the Bruins.
Yeah, maybe it was. I know it was East Coast.
Here's John Haidt.
Thanks, Joe. Sunny and 29 degrees. Both the locals lost last night. The Wolves losing to Charlotte and the Wild losing in overtime to New Jersey. Next up, the Wolves play Orlando at the Target Center tomorrow night and the Wild at Buffalo tomorrow evening. Vikings still getting ready for that Thanksgiving Day game. They're in Detroit to play the Lions. Vikings leading the NFC North at 8-2. The Lions are 6-4 in second.
How beat
place.
up are the Vikings?
I don't think they're very beat up at all, are they?
All right. I'm asking because I don't know.
I haven't seen an injury report this week, but last week they went in fairly clean.
Johnny, if I may, before you continue, just a little on this 2003 Heritage Classic. They had the Megastars game prior to, so Guy Lafleur was with the Canadiens, Gretzky was with the Oilers, and so they called a bunch of ex-players back.
In what year?
In 2003.
The one you remembered.
Yep.
Yeah, the one you remembered.
Yeah.
So, but let me ask you, when you won the Cup with New Jersey, right?
Yep.
Do you have, and you can answer honestly, is there a connection to New Jersey? There's a connection to the team for the time you played there, but do you still have a connection as far as you get together with alum from that year and so forth?
Yeah, and they've helped nurture that by bringing me back to their fall golf corporate gathering sponsors, and there was a celebration last year that we all got back together and reconvened and then went out on the ice, and the fans all recognized us for that first New Jersey Stanley Cup. And so and then there's just the overall sentimental connection when you do win a championship with those guys. They kind of walk together for everything. Right. And so there's definitely a bond there.
You ever just wake up some days and go, my name's on the cup, right? My name's on the cup. So,
Tom, I don't know if you know this, but much in that same vein, all of the guys from Cretin also gather once a year to commemorate the Matt Mikulski double pump layup.
The double pump layup.
Yeah.
Which now can never be shown on. It's been banned from YouTube.
That's when he trips over a crack in the floor.
What did Johnny Towers say? I couldn't, or I could jump higher than a piece of paper or something like that. It's vertical. All right, I'm sorry to interrupt, John.
I got air.
I
got air.
I believe I can fly.
News notes from today. A man who entered a Shields store hoping to have his firearms serviced caused a short lockdown over the lunch hour at Eden Prairie Center today.
That thing was in a case, wasn't it?
It was a gun case.
Yeah, it was cased up.
Yeah.
Lockdown, cased up.
But then why the complaint?
Well, because we live in strange times.
People. Okay.
We live in strange times.
In a release, Eden Prairie Police said a mall employee reported to officers an adult male carrying a gun case entered the Shields store at the Eden Prairie Center with the intent of having his firearms serviced. When told there were no gun services at that location, the man left the mall. But the report of a firearm triggered lockdown beginning at about 12:08. The all clear came right around 1 o'clock.
If you're going to have that type of service, though, wouldn't you think that a place like Shields would have a separate side entrance for that?
They don't.
They don't have the service.
The guy made a mistake.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. I read that in the
Plus, that would make it worse. There was a guy going in the side door to Shields with a gun.
Service workers at Mayo Clinic, Albert Lee, have voted to authorize a one-day strike if they say Mayo continues to refuse to bargain in good faith. The group, made up of members of the SEIU Healthcare Minnesota, includes 79 workers employed as certified nursing assistants, housekeepers, and those tasked with sterile processing and utilities and materials management. Speaking to reporters this afternoon before leaving for Mar-a-Lago, President Trump said, "We don't need a liberal person in there," regarding the vacant Alabama Senate seat. Roy Moore, the Republican candidate for the position, has multiple accusations of sexual misconduct against him from women who claim Moore approached them as teenage girls. The president told reporters that Moore totally denies the allegations. He added, he says it didn't happen. He also said that voters should not support Democrat Doug Jones, who he said is bad on crime and on the border. He declined to weigh in on the allegations about Senator Al Franken or Representative John Conyers. He also said he'd soon reveal whether or not he will campaign for Roy Moore. Meanwhile, CBS and PBS both fired Charlie Rose today after several women accused him of sexual misconduct. He had been suspended following yesterday's Washington Post story. Today, both CBS and PBS letting him go.
That's a tough deal to go home and tell the wife that you've maybe been fired from all three of your jobs. And, those big Christmas plans. Well,
one, maybe she can.
Right. But all three, and we're not going to mahi-mahi anymore. And
I think she'd probably be mad about the reason why.
I was going to say, she'd be mad about that, and then she would come to her son and say, "Why did you get fired?" Well, I was walking around my apartment naked.
Why didn't they throw a net over this fruitcake and lock him up someplace?
You know, an emailer brought up an interesting point,
Twitch
John,
farm.
when we were talking about this earlier.
Farm.
He essentially worked for himself, right? His name was on the production house.
Yeah, he produced the talk show that he did on
so
PBS.
if there was an employee that did have a complaint, would they then be filing it to him?
Apparently.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then did he have to fire himself?
Well, he didn't. He fired himself up.
Oh,
Careful.
Oh.
Careful. New concert announcement announced just for Kenny Olson. Target Field this summer. Jimmy Buffett and the Eagles.
What's Buffett's band?
The Coral Reefer Band.
Yeah, Coral Reefer Band.
You know, he's now selling condominiums.
Oh, he sells everything.
He's just an old stoner,
Is
isn't
he
he?
like Trump? His name's on everything?
Yeah.
Man, come on. I had a rough night, and I hate the Eagles, man.
I tried Buffett, but I don't get it.
I like some of his stuff.
miss the point.
Are
Cheeseburger
you
in
searching
paradise?
for your lost shaker of salt?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I could never hear that song again in my life and be very happy. Thank you, Margaritaville. I never want to hear it again.
Okay.
Margaritaville.
All right.
But there are other songs.
Does it
like
have
them.
bad memories for you, John?
No, it's just how many times
Involving
have you,
a woman,
How
maybe?
many times have you heard Margaritaville?
Well,
Quite a
if
few times.
Yeah.
If you're ever a snowbird and you run down to Southwest Florida,
Yeah.
you will hear it Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night. They don't stop.
So is this concert going to have to be over before like 8:45?
Do you have a bad experience with a he, she named Margaret?
Come clean, Height.
Yikes.
What's going on with you?
Just heard it
anyway,
too often, huh, John?
That's it. Yeah, it's kind of like Brown Eyed Girl. It was once upon a time a really good song. but
Oh,
yeah,
I get it.
I
You're
I got my next
traumatized.
bump.
Yeah, thanks. The Eagles, by the way, now are Don Henley, Joe Walsh, Timothy B. Schmidt, and they bring along Deacon Fry, who's Glenn's kid, and Vince Gill. Their tour will begin March 14th in Chicago, run through
Vince
July.
Gill.
What does he play?
What's he? I thought he was a country.
He's a
dude.
country.
Triangle.
Oh, yeah, and the Eagles are a country band. Okay.
Well, they're a little bit of a country band, I guess.
Vince Gill's a monster guitar player.
Is he really?
Oh, God, he's incredible.
Well, so is Joe Walsh.
Why is Joe slumming with those old doof?
Well, Joe's old, too.
Yeah.
What do you want from him?
Yeah, but he could do better.
Well, he did tour as Joe Walsh this
Why'd
past
they
year.
drag out that poor Don Felder? He's looking for something to do.
They hate him.
Yeah, I know.
And he hates them.
Yeah,
so
right.
that ain't going to work.
That would make it fun.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Who was the Bernie guy? Bernie somebody.
Ledden.
Why'd they drag him out?
I don't think Bernie wants to play anymore either. Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Gill's about an 800 million times
Chris,
better,
what were you asked?
better player than all of those guys.
That's
Chris?
not a pun.
No, but it's still stupid. Just idiotic.
I think he wants you not to be stupid is the point, Chris.
That's it.
Well, good luck with that.
Yeah,
That was my role. Yeah, wait a minute here. Hang on.
Kind of a losing battle, I guess. Anyway, that concert,
Hone in on my action.
that concert, I haven't given you a date yet, is June 30th.
Let's
Which
go,
is
Kenny. You and me.
I believe I've got a thing that.
It's a Saturday, Kenny. You'll probably be out of town.
How about the suite for the sports fantasy auction?
Huh?
Hosted
What about
by,
it?
Hosted by me.
We'll host the suite
Sports
for
Talk
listeners to come.
Crew.
Oh, that's not a bad deal.
What time will we hear?
Who are these birds? What are the birds that we're watching? I thought it was a raptor show. We got Joe Walsh out here.
Tickets for the tour go on sale Saturday, December
Raptor was a
2nd,
bird, and there's eagles. And
10 a.m. So pretty soon.
Souch, did I tell you a woman came to my door last night dressed as Gloria Gaynor?
And you were afraid.
At first, I was afraid.
First you were.
I was petrified.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. 100.
Wait, that's kind of a pun.
No, it's okay, Chris. Settle down.
Mall of America will have a new restaurant this summer. Wahlburgers, franchise operated by Hy-Vee, will open on level 2. A release said the 5,500 square foot location expected to offer burgers, home-style sides.
As in Mark Wahlberg?
That's correct.
Wow.
Wahlberg Brothers, yep.
I think this will make the Twin Cities complete.
Joe, you're going to go over there for the opening? Let's go to the opening together.
The only thing
I
we
will
haven't
drive.
had-
I will drive.
No,
Let's go to the
you
opening
ahead.
together.
You tell me all about it. John, I don't want to hear any more about that. I don't care about that.
They're going to take
right,
on the
then.
Juicy Lucy's.
I don't
on
care
there.
about
Yeah, wait a minute.
I'm going home.
This one going out to Guitar Man. Johnny Hines.
This one's dedicated to Johnny.
I remember when.
We used to say, sha la 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 sha la 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 la. Go get it, Johnny.
side here.
Oh, dang it.
You know, usually when people ask me about Rook, I tell them what a nice guy Rook is, how much fun we have, but that may have to change, I think.
Why don't you be truthful?
Well, when I met Chorske over at Tiff's the other night, I saw him as I was leaving, so I went over to his table, and there was a whole bunch of people that were eating with him. And I tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I'm Tom Chorske, so here's another hockey story about me. Here, you want to hear me about? Let me say more about Tom Chorske."
There's my Stanley Cup ring.
How's the food there? Pretty good?
Yeah. Montpetit's can give you a pretty
Is
good.
that a Montpettit place now?
Yes.
I'll be darned.
It's really good. So it's
That place
they've
will be-
upped they've upped their food game.
That'll be a big tomorrow night hangout, won't that? Isn't that where a lot of the college kids will come back? And
It's tough to get into Tiff's, Plums.
Yeah.
That used to be, when I played in bands, the funnest night of the year to play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'd play Brown Eyed Girl, everybody dance. From the Star Tribune, one sort of sports note, there's a tavern near Milwaukee called the Bavarian Beer House. It's got a nice promotion tied to Packer games. You can get a free beer when the game is on until the Packers score. You see where this is going? Usually the bar does okay because, well, the Packers haven't had a lot of problems scoring points the past few years.
Yeah, but they got shut out.
But
in other words, this place is now bankrupt.
with Aaron Rodgers hurt, the Packers shut out by the Ravens 23-0 Sunday. That meant Packer fans got to drink free the whole 3.5 hours.
my
And there was no holding back. There ain't no flag.
How many people died?
Before Sunday, the last time the Packers had been shut out was 2006. But now with Brett Hundley at quarterback, it's not going well. I don't know if I believe the story. The GM there at this place, he said there were about 200 people in the establishment during the game, and he said his staff served about 300 cups of free beer. Well, what?
No, I don't buy it.
That's not possible.
Okay, but how much hard alcohol? Or is it just beer?
It's either Bloody Marys or beer.
Wow.
But still,
ain't no flag!
I got to believe he.
Wisconsin troopers should just show up there and bar the door.
You're right.
And make them sit in there for a good 5-6 hours to sober up.
Well, and don't they play Pittsburgh?
Yeah, well, the bar was asked if they'll continue the promotion with Rodgers out, and they said, sure, we will. The Packers are in Pittsburgh Sunday night to play the Steelers.
There will be a line out the door.
Ugly. Yeah, could be very ugly. Update on a story we had, I think, earlier this week, maybe last week. Comic actor Sacha Baron Cohen is offered to... Sasha, too. Baron Cohen. Has he been in a movie in the last 10 years?
No.
Yeah. Anyway, the guy that played Borat has offered to pay the fines for the 6 Czech tourists who were reportedly detained by authorities in Kazakhstan's capital for dressing up in the swimsuit that his character Borat wore. They're mankinis. The guys were wearing those and black wigs, and they wanted to take a picture in front of the I Love Astana sign earlier this month. But local police arrested them and fined them $68 each for committing minor hooliganism. In a Facebook post today, Baron Cohen says to my Czech mates who were arrested, send me your details and proof that it was you, and I will pay for your fine. A Maine police department is warning residents to steer clear of black market butterballs. The police department in Falmouth reports a Hannaford supermarket had to throw away a bunch of frozen turkeys that had thawed out due to a mechanical failure.
Ooh.
Somebody collected them from the trash bin,
Throw them in the freezer.
started redistributing them.
So like Angel on the Rockford Files or something like that. Jimmy, I need some freezers, man.
Just cut off the bad part. Some cheese.
We say people should beware of the black market turkeys because they're dangerous to consume and could make you sick.
You know, odd story. I was actually at Hy-Vee today getting my Thanksgiving turkey, and there was a lady that was in there, and she was looking at the frozen turkeys, and she asked the stock clerk, she said, did these turkeys get any bigger? And he looked at her right in the face and said, no, ma'am, they're dead.
Wow.
That was on Twitter earlier this week.
Thank you. Yeah.
Here's
That's called memory.
This is a very sad story.
You're going to be sad to be away from him for a couple of days, Joe, after the Thanksgiving break?
No.
But you get me all to yourself tomorrow.
I don't think I'm coming. Why, are you not here tomorrow?
Ooh, yeah.
He'll be home cooking. He'll be cooking.
What did he say? I didn't hear him.
Did I forget to tell you that today?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we discussed that last week.
Well, according to the schedule, you're here tomorrow. That was Brad Lane's schedule.
That was a misprint.
What's your tradition, Suchi boy, for Thanksgiving?
Arby's.
You don't do the turkey.
No,
huh?
we don't have anything.
No bird, no
nothing.
family,
Nothing.
no stuffing,
Me by myself.
no corn, nothing.
Hey, are you bringing over some of that stuffing
You just
tomorrow,
sit
dummy?
down with a bottle of wild turkey in the garage and
Sit
just
in the
get
corner.
face planting drunk.
Well, that's great.
That's touching.
Yeah.
And he starts-
Tradition. Pass it on.
About 7 o'clock, he starts calling the staff. He has like a staff meeting. One more thing I got to tell you. No more puns from Reavers. I'm going to tell you one more time.
He's laying on the floor in the garage because it's nice and cold.
Got my feet up in the air.
Right.
Wow.
Where's Pat? I'm kidding. That's unfair. You've never done
Any
that.
more ads? Oh, wait.
Wow.
Can I get some more stuffing?
What do you think about our radio career, Chorske?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You're scaring him away.
A sad story from Pennsylvania. Man accused of beating his roommate to death over stolen beer has been found guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
All he had was
All
that
they had
beer.
was those beers.
Judge handed down the verdict in the.
Still on the floor. Why don't y'all go away?
Joe, you're on the wall. That's no way to behave for somebody on the wall.
Who said that?
A judge handed.
Are you in the triumph or where are you?
We're here to help you flip your boat, Joe.
I don't have a boat.
Okay.
This is from a kid who said, or a guy who said to me, his wife tried to talk to him, and you just went,
Won't you just at least say anything to me? I looked back at her and just went, because I knew my mouth would come out like,
I'm still on the floor.
that was last Thanksgiving when I got into the rare fireball and I could not speak. Oh my God. Not even in tongues. Oh my God.
In Pennsylvania, a judge
I'm
handed.
sweating now.
say something to me, honey.
I can't tell you how disappointed. She wasn't even mad. It was more disappointing. She looked and she just went, I'm going to bed. And then I didn't know. My brain said inside, should I try to sleep in bed? Should I sit on the couch now? And it wasn't even that clear.
And you don't even have a boat.
Sad story, John.
Yes.
Yeah, 35-year-old Justin Van Kirk got the verdict yesterday. Here's the sad part of it.
Yeah.
Police say the Brentwood resident told investigators he confronted his 58-year-old roommate Charles Parker about the Keystone Ice beer last year and fought with
Oh,
him.
nice choice of beer.
He killed his roommate over
that,
some
huh?
Keystone Ice.
It's not worth it. I mean,
It's a
of
sad
course, there's no
story at
beer that's worth
Thanksgiving, John.
That's very sad at Thanksgiving.
Well, actually, it'd be sad any time of the year, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
I don't have a boat.
Information, insight, opinion, analysis. 1500 ESPN.
Let's switch gears here and let's talk about some weight loss. Medifast Weight Control Centers wants you to lose weight, and you can lose weight over the holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, whatever the case may be. Time is running out on a great offer. Medifast is going to spot you the first 20 pounds of weight loss for free when you purchase a full program. Now, this excludes food and products, and it's going to end soon. So I want you to get in touch with one of the staff members at Medifast Weight Control Centers. There's 9 locations, and you are going to lose weight. I started in September a year ago, got through every single holiday. Yeah, you're going to have some turkey and stuff, but you're just going to watch what you eat over those holiday times, the holiday parties, etc. Medifast Weight Control Centers reminds you results vary. You will lose up to 10 pounds the first 2 weeks and 1 to 2 pounds each week thereafter. Go online to medifastmn.com. That's medifastmn.com or dial 1-855-MEDIFAST. You are going to love your new look. 1-855-RESULTS. You are going to do it. Medifast Weight Control Centers. Tell them Brooke sent you.
News at 10.
Tom Chorske is filling in for Patrick tonight to take you on the ride. And what do you have planned for us, son?
Well, you know, you guys just kind of wing it, so I figured I'd kind of wing it, but we'll certainly talk some sports, and Jess Myers is going to join us a little bit later, and Manny said we could, talk about whatever we wanted to talk about, but I've got a couple things that I wanted to cover that I noticed in my social media feed the other day that I thought might be a little interesting. But we'll cover the different teams around town and whatever else comes up.
The Vikes don't get an off day this week, do they?
No, it's a short week.
Where to have it? They play at 11:30 Thursday our time.
But I read that they're having so much fun winning that that's not bugging them. They'd be ready to go right now.
And there's no quarterback controversy. It's Case Keenum.
Why would
you
call him
take
earlier?
him out now?
Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem, whatever his name is. Case Keenum.
Yes.
Ride that guy. Ride him.
Yep. I think that's what you do, right? He's winning, and I did want to talk about the Vikes a little bit and Zimmer, and I like what he's got going on there.
1500 ESPN is KSTP, St. Paul, Minneapolis. It's 27.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. The College Football Playoff Committee made their decision on Sunday, and as much as I loathe the idea of Ohio State losing their way into the College Football Playoff, I 100% agree with OSU making it in over Bama. Nick Saban citing some hypothetical point spreads to prove his point that the Tide deserve a spot in the College Football Playoffs holds little substance when you consider Bama's best win is over Texas. No, the committee got it right. TCU had a great season with far more ranked wins than Bama and didn't deserve to lose their spot after playing a surging Kansas State in a championship game. And Ohio State, while not playing some of their best ball later in the season, was still 12-0 until they came face-to-face with my Wolverines. While the college football playoff system isn't nowhere near as good as it could be, it's better than what we had. And in a few years, it will be better for all of college football. Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to basketball to soccer and esports, we've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. And don't forget BetOnline for the NHL, MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.